Friday Night Fast Break with John Alba is brought to you by Barney Chevrolet, Pittsfield, and Penobscot County Federal Credit Union.
2 is always better than 1. At least week 2 of Friday Night Fast Break will sure be at least. He's Andrew Badillo. I'm John Alba. Lots of fun ahead of us this weekend.
That's right, John. Things spread out this weekend, not just jam-packed on one night, which means more time to digest and dissect, but there was still some action tonight, and for that we start in Class AA North. Bangor taking on Windham. Maine men's basketball head coach Bob Walsh was taking in the Friday night action. First offensive possession for the Eagles. Great movement and a good pass leads to an even better finish. Reverse layup from Mike Gilman. He gives the Eagles an early 2-0 lead. A few minutes later, Windham leads 9-3, but Damian Vance, check it up,
knock it down.
Up, pop in the J. Elbow jumper is good. Bangor cuts the lead to 4. But what would a Bangor highlight be without this guy? There he is, Matt Fleming. He
More from him in a minute, by the way.
Exactly. He knocks down the turnaround jumper, but it was all Gilman in this one. Windham leads 9-7. He was just too much for the Rams. He hit that one from Brewer. Windham wins 73-63.
He did. The Class A North champs from last year, Messalonski in town to take on Brewer. The Witches had it going early. In particular, did Kobe Rogerson. Brewer up 4-0 here. Not anymore. Rogerson from deep. It's 7-zip. Then he gets the give from Isaac Cummings. Spots up. Knocks it down. Nice Brewer opens up on a 10-0 run. Eagles trying to rally on the other end. 3 is missed in the side pocket, but Chase Warren is able to clean it up for the first points of the game for Messalonski. Brewer, though, doesn't fret, especially Max Perkins. Take a look at this, Andrew. The steal, he's got to go hard to the lane, sees the defense coming in, and is able to get it to go. Nice touch. Brewer wins 55-49.
To the girls' basketball circuit, Hamden girls looking to move the 3-0 on the season in their way. Lawrence, early first quarter, Marissa Gilpin with the pass and the finish, three-pointer. Broncos lead 3-0. Lawrence would respond on the very next play, though. Cameron Caldwell draws in the defense, and she's going to kick it out to her teammate who nails the three-pointer. Bulldogs tie things up. Hamden would go on a bit of a run towards the end of the quarter, though. Lydia Berlant steals a Lawrence pass and takes it all the way. However, teammate is right there, Braylee Wildman, to clean up the mess. Hamden hangs on, 49-43.
To Class B girls basketball, Waterville traveling to the Cross Center to take on John Baps. Pick things up late in the second quarter. Crusaders up 17-9. Purple Panthers guard Paige St. Pierre drives to the basket, is able to draw the foul. She hit her 2 free throws. Baps leads 17-11. Scoring was hard to come by in this one. Here, Baps does a good job, though, breaking the Purple Panthers press. Kaylee LaBelle lays it in for Baps to extend the lead right there and be able to hang on against a stingy Waterville squad to win 40-32. Some other scores from tonight, starting with the boys. Old Town beating Mountain View 34-32. MDI over Oceanside 62-48. Herman knocking off Washington Academy, a team that gave it trouble in the tournament last year by 9, and Hampton Academy beating Lawrence 52-16 big. We got some more boys scores here. Bucksport over Narraguagus. Erskine beating Skowhegan by 3. Dexter over Skank, and George Stevens knocking off Ellsworth.
And now to the girls. Old Town over Mountain View 32-28. Messalonski, big win for those girls, 66-38 over Brewer. Madomic getting a big win over Camden Hills, 59-53. And Bangor hanging on against Windham, 50-46. We also have some more scores to take care of. Nokomis, big win over Mount Blue, 47-40. Gardner beating Coney, 46-29. Southern Aroostook, 60-18 over Shed. And Fort Kent beating Fort Fairfield, 40-31.
Very good, Andrew. By the way, some breaking news in here real quick. Just before we got on the set, I was told that you saw Bob Walsh in that highlight. I was told that Matt Fleming picked up an offer from UMaine tonight, so interesting to see what happens there. It's time now, though, to talk about what we saw this weekend. Tonight, we delve deep into Class A North. In tonight's edition of Rebound, we're going to look closely at what we've seen so far of this conference, including one team separating itself so far. That would be Hampton Academy. The Broncos are undefeated at 3-0 to start the year and put up nearly 100 the other night against Camden Hills. Brewer also hanging in there undefeated to start the year at 2-0, though. What have you seen from these guys so far?
Hampton's been unbelievable this year, John. I mean, the boys, what you saw them do earlier this week and last week against Messalonski down or here in Hamden, I mean, John Wolfington, Ian McIntyre, Tommy Ray, they could shoot the ball, but they could also play the inside game. There you see McIntyre with the nice finish.
Absolutely, some good stuff from Brewer here too. Kobe Rogerson making it rain, good one for him. But the girls also have a few clear leaders out of the gate as well, Andrew, don't they?
They certainly do. We're seeing immediate improvement of the Broncos girls team, but what has been the difference maker? John has a further look this.
Well, what I'm saying right now is this girls team in Hamden has got it going, but also you got to think about Lawrence. Lawrence was 2-0 coming into tonight. night. They lost to Hamden Academy, able to get things together. So it should be pretty interesting to see what happens in Class A North, at least on the girls' end. And I'll tell you what, we've got a special look here, don't we, Andrew?
Yes,
What's coming up next?
Yes, we do. Hamden girls basketball has been fantastic this season. John, you took a further look in this week's Hardwood Spotlight.
Defensively is where it all starts for us. When we come in and we're able to take other teams out of their rhythm and their offensive sets, it just makes everything else a little bit easier for us.
So defense wins championships. How many times have you heard that before? Well, it's a mantra the Hamden girls basketball team is adopting this year. Former Orono head coach Nick Winchester is at the helm, and he wanted to make some major changes to how the team plays.
Well, normally we were in a zone last year, and this year so far we've only done man, and it's definitely a lot different.
She's not lying. You see, the team has put a ton of emphasis on pressure in the half court. In the zone, you're more spread out, but look at what the Broncos are doing. At the beginning of this clip, you see Braylee Wildman putting pressure right off the bat. She's far past the perimeter, getting in Letitia Billings' face. Now next we see the pass to Maya Wiley, who, despite being beyond the arc, is met by center Bailey Donovan. How are you going to get past someone who's 6'3"? The man means there's no room to run, and watch as the play continues what happens when the pressure intensifies. Turnover. Now, that's not the only example, though. Watch this. Here Camden Hills is going to attempt a drive to the hoop near side. Now, Lauren Miller is going to try and force a pass, and watch what happens. It goes out of bounds. Not only was she trying to pass into traffic, but playing man added a third body down low in Marissa Gilpin. Now, in a zone, she's off on the wing and not collapsing underneath the basket. But now as Brooklyn Scott moves in for position, if she gets beat, Gilpin's right there. That's also due to an improvement in communication for the Broncos. Winchester's system encourages them to communicate more. You saw Gilpin slide into position in that previous clip, and that's just one example. That one little change is making a major difference.
We didn't really talk and we didn't communicate a lot, and I think with Coach Winchester, that was just something that he really wanted us to improve on.
So what does that mean? The Broncos are going to be a contender in Class A North. So the question now is, who will rise to the defensive challenge? Well, that remains to be seen. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. This is one of my favorite parts of the show, John, where we get to have fun and get to learn who these players are off the court.
They're kids after all. We got to know Old Town boys basketball big man Dom Mitchell in this week's edition of A Minute With, and it was a lot of fun.
Jedi, hands down, because they're the good guys. Everybody wants to be the good guy in life. Nobody wants to be the bad guy that's getting picked on. Probably Jabba the Hutt. It's just so weird. So greasy. Zuba Uba. Oh geez, a pair of socks from my aunt. Because they were like, what was it? It was like mustard colored ones, and it was so ugly. Oh yay! Love eggnog. It's just so good. It's so original. It's amazing. Oh no! Don't even get me started with mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is disgusting. Ugh.
Ditto on that. Anyway, it was always provides us with some funny stuff, as you just saw. Transitioning, though, over to college hoops now. We now welcome Husson men's basketball head coach Warren Caruso in this week's edition of One on One. Warren, thank you so much for joining us right now. We appreciate it.
Great to be here, John. Thanks.
So far, the Husson men's basketball team is pretty much living up to expectations. 6-1 to start this year. We knew Raheem Anderson was going to shine and that you guys were the favorites in the NAC. But other than Raheem, who else have you seen raise the bar for you guys so far this year?
I think we'd start with Justin Martin, who's had a tremendous start to the season. Averaging 11 points, 7 rebounds and close to 4 blocks. He's had some big games for us. He's really come into his own, increased his scoring, and then Mitch Wish has been a big part of what we're doing as well. Feeding off the end of last year into this year, and really playing a role nicely, taking less shots but being more effective at what he's doing. And we've got a host of young guys that are really doing a good job.
All right, Warren, so offensively, you guys have been dynamite this season, but you've also been good defensively, top 4 in the NAC in points allowed and field goal percentage. What's been the key to the defense's success this season?
Well, I think if you look at it, defensively, we think we can get better there. Our young guys are coming along nicely here through 7 games, and really had a good week of practice where we had some time to work on some things. So I think the matrix will look good defensively, but if you break down some of the film, we think we can be better defensively. And as our young guys grow and understand the system, I really think we'll become a really good defensive team.
Now, the Florida trip is this weekend for you guys to do that every year. It offers a nice chance for the team to get out of the cold for a weekend. So I got to ask, what are the advantages of going down to play a couple games against teams from other regions?
Well, it's something we look to do every year. I think it's a part of our culture. It's a big part of our recruiting. It plays a big part in us coming together, spending a lot of time on the road, preparing for opponents that we're not familiar with, playing out of region, playing up, generally speaking. So we're really pleased with the way the trips come together. It's a great spot down in Fort Lauderdale. The weather looks good, and we think we're playing good basketball. So we're anxious to get down there and play against 2 really good teams.
Now, Warren, last question. I saw you at the Bangor game today. Your son plays on the team as well, but they've also brought in Matt Fleming. We mentioned him earlier in the show. Just your thoughts on the team this year, bringing Fleming in, and what you've seen from the team early on this season.
Bangor's got a good group. I think they're going to be fun to watch, and they're going to mature as the season goes on, not having a senior on the roster. Coach Parker's doing a great job with them and watching them progress with my son on the team, getting to see him play a lot through the fall and into the early part of the season. And so things look up. I mean, it's really exciting for Bangor, time for Bangor basketball to be more competitive than they've been the last couple of years, and certainly the pieces all fit really well together.
Warren, real quick, who needs sunscreen the most when you go down to Florida on the team?
Have you seen my forehead? I think it's pretty obvious, no doubt. 50 is what I need, and 75 if they had it.
Ashley Paul needs that as well, so don't worry. You're on the same seat. Warren, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it, and good luck down there.
Great. Thanks for having me.
All right, so time to take a trip to Hot Take City, where we throw out a whole bunch of scenarios and decide if there's any merit to them or if we should set them on ice and maybe the old take exposed, John. Vernon Lowndes Jr. has come out of nowhere and has been one of Maine men's basketball's most productive players this year. I'll throw it out there. Lowndes is Maine's best player.
He's the best scorer right now, I'll tell you that. Aaron Calixte, we saw last year leading scorer, but until he got hurt and they had some issues there. What I like from Lowndes is he sees the floor very well. He's dynamic in his athletic ability, and he gives a guy like Aaron Calixte options outside of just Andrew Fleming. But you can't take anything away. Dusan Masterovic has been shooting the lights out as of late, as has Ilker. What do you think?
Yeah, I certainly agree with you. Lowndes opens up the opportunities for a lot of other players. 6'6" frame, a guy who can drive to the hoop and shoot from the outside. That's not a player that you find often in the mid-majors circuit. He's been fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Switching over to high school hoops now. Messalonski girls are off to a rough start this year. Andrew, they were your pick to win Class A. There's no way the Eagles are a top 4 team after the start they've had, right?
Did you hear what they did tonight? They kind of took it to Brewer. Again, it's something that we were talking about earlier with Brunswick football.
It's
that weird it dynamic. And Messalonski last year, I mean, no one can look past what they did. I know they lost a ton from this year, but they're returning a lot of players who saw and were along with that tournament run last year, didn't necessarily get on the floor. There's only 3 games. We're only 3 games through the season, 1-2 record, but I think that they'll be right there in Class A.
I mean, like you said, with Brunswick, those players have been there before.
Yes.
That makes a difference.
Yes.
I don't care who you ask. That makes a difference.
Yeah, it certainly does. And final take, both George Stevens squads have kind of limped out of the gates this year. I'm going to say that neither of them finish in the top 4 of Class E this season.
I'm sending that one back to Hot Take City, Andrew. The girls, I'm not sure. They've struggled out of the gates. They lost by 5 against Deer Isle Stonington. They lost huge to Central, 72-25. And they lost big to Narragansett, 79-29. They're going to struggle. We'll see what they can pick up down the line. But the guys, too much talent. Taylor Shildroth, one of the best players in all the state. They also returned Max Madsen. I think this is too talented of a team to have a down year. And they'll bounce back. They beat a good Ellsworth team tonight, an interclass matchup. You always got to put weight into that.
Yeah, exactly. Certainly. I mean, it's kind of going back to the Messalonski thing. It's way too early in the season for us to that's why they're hot takes, is kind of to be putting any merit into to whether a team is going to finish in the top 4 or not. So that's kind of why we have a little fun with this segment.
Absolutely. Well, from Hot Take City to Beantown we go. The Celtics saw 5 different double-digit contributors versus the Nuggets the other night, but could they get that same production against the Jazz this evening? Usually you get a lot out of Kyrie Irving. In the first, Celtics up 2 here. Jaylen Brown is going to steal it away from Joe Ingles and throw down that one-handed dunk. Pretty. Celtics up 4, but in the second quarter tied at 30. Donovan Mitchell driving the lane, and look at this acrobatic layup. Lost the foul, and Marv Albert's like, I'm a foul. Jazz up 3 after 3-point play. They win 107-95.
All right, final segment of the night, the best of the best. We head on over to Bangor. You got to see this, folks. Play from Wyndham's Mike Gilman. Check it out. He's going to get the pass out on the top of the wing, and he hits this from across the river. Are you kidding me? What a shot from the Eagles guard. We saw that last week from Matt Fleming, hitting shots from all over that area. This week, same gym, but it was Gilman. He was doing it all game for the Eagles. John, that's a little bit better than we shot in our promo.
That is definitely better than we shot. I would like to say that if people saw the promo, you can see that, you were the one.
There was a lot more tape. There was a lot more tape. There was a lot more tape.
I mean, it doesn't matter what's taped. It's
maybe
that all ends up on the cutting room floor.
Maybe if we have time a little bit later on the year, we can play a one-on-one game.
Yeah,
that'll make the show.
You got to see that. That's for sure. Well, week 2 is in the books. Andrew, what stood out to you this week?
Hamden, I think, on both sides. I mean, the boys specifically, you saw what they did against Lawrence down in Lawrence. I mean, that's unbelievable, holding the Bulldogs under 20 points. And the girls were also fantastic, too. Your hardwood spotlight on the defense really showed that they've been able to transform the entire team this season, and it's paying dividends early.
Yeah, that stood out to me, and I think next week we're going to see a lot from these college teams, what's going on. Maine men's basketball, 6-game road trip coming up. They're going to have a tough time, plus those Husson teams going down south as well, but we're going off the desk. He's Andrew Badillo. I'm John Alba. This has been Friday Night Fast Break. The 10 p.m. news on Fox 22 returns right after this.